Bible in a Year Live, Chronological Project, Week 23, Day 2, Good News Translation. King Jehoahaz of Israel. In the 23rd year of the reign of Joash, son of Ahaziah, as king of Judah, Jehoahaz, son of Jehu, became king of Israel, and he ruled in Samaria for 17 years. Like King Jeroboam before him, he sinned against the Lord and led Israel into sin. He never gave up his evil ways. So the Lord was angry with Israel, and he allowed King Hazael of Syria and his son Ben-Hadad to defeat Israel time after time. Then Jehoahaz prayed to the Lord, and the Lord, seeing how harshly the king of Syria was oppressing the Israelites, answered his prayer. The Lord sent Israel a leader who freed them from the Syrians, and so the Israelites lived in peace as before. But they still did not give up the sins into which King Jeroboam had led Israel, but kept on committing them. And the image of the goddess Asherah remained in Samaria. Jehoahaz had no armed forces left except 50 cavalry troops, 10 chariots, and 10,000 foot soldiers, because the king of Syria had destroyed the rest, trampling them down like dust. Everything else that Jehoahaz did, and all his brave deeds, are recorded in the history of the kings of Israel. He died and was buried in Samaria, and his son Jehoash succeeded him as king. King Jehoash of Israel. In the 37th year of the reign of King Joash of Judah, Jehoash, son of Jehoahaz, became king of Israel, and he ruled in Samaria for 16 years. He too sinned against the Lord, and followed the evil example of King Jeroboam, who had led Israel into sin. At that time, King Hazael of Syria attacked the city of Gath and conquered it. Then he decided to attack Jerusalem. King Joash of Judah took all the offerings that his predecessors, Jehoshaphat, Jehoram, and Ahaziah had dedicated to the Lord, added to them his own offerings and all the gold in the treasuries of the temple and the palace, and sent them all as a gift to the king Hazael, who then led his army away from Jerusalem. Everything else that King Joash did is recorded in the history of the kings of Judah. King Joash's officials plotted against him, and two of them, Jozachar, son of Shimeath, and Jehozabad, son of Shomer, killed him at the house built on the land that was filled in on the east side of Jerusalem, on the road that goes down to Silla. Joash was buried in the royal tombs in David's city, and his son Amaziah succeeded him as king. The end of Joash's reign. When autumn came that year, the Syrian army attacked Judah and Jerusalem, killed all the leaders, and took large amounts of loot back to Damascus. The Syrian army was small, but the Lord let them defeat a much larger Judean army because the people had abandoned him, the Lord God of their ancestors. In this way, King Joash was punished. He was severely wounded, and when the enemy withdrew, two of his officials plotted against him and killed him in his bed to avenge the murder of the son of Jehoiada the priest. He was buried in David's city, but not in the royal tombs. Those who plotted against him were Zabad, the son of an Ammonite woman named Shimeath, and Jehozabad, the son of a Moabite woman named Shimrith. The commentary on the Book of Kings contains the stories of the sons of Joash, the prophecies spoken against him, and the record of how he rebuilt the temple. His son Amaziah succeeded him as king. The death of Elisha. The prophet Elisha was sick with a fatal disease, and as he lay dying, King Jehoash of Israel went to visit him. My father, he exclaimed as he wept, you have been the mighty defender of Israel. Get a bow and some arrows, Elisha ordered him. Jehoash got them, and Elisha told him to get ready to shoot. The king did so, and Elisha placed his hands on the king's hands. Then, following the prophet's instructions, the king opened the window that faced toward Syria. Shoot the arrow, Elisha ordered. As soon as the king shot the arrow, the prophet exclaimed, You are the Lord's arrow, with which he will win victory over Syria. You will fight the Syrians in Aphek until you defeat them. Then Elisha told the king to take the other arrows and strike the ground with them. The king struck the ground 3 times and then stopped. This made Elisha angry, and he said to the king, "You should have struck 5 or 6 times, and then you would have won complete victory over the Syrians. But now you will defeat them only 3 times." Elisha died and was buried. Every year, bands of Moabites used to invade the land of Israel. One time, during a funeral, one of those bands was seen, and the people threw the corpse into Elisha's tomb and ran off. As soon as the body came in contact with Elisha's bones, the man came back to life and stood up. War between Israel and Syria. King Hazael of Syria oppressed the Israelites during all of Jehoahaz's reign, but the Lord was kind and merciful to them. He would not let them be destroyed, but helped them because of his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He has never forgotten his people. At the death of King Hazael of Syria, his son Ben-Hadad became king. Then the king Jehoash of Israel defeated Ben-Hadad 3 times and recaptured the cities that had been taken by Ben-Hadad during the reign of Jehoahaz, the father of Jehoash.